Yukari Sakaki has been adjusting quite well to her new class. She has already recovered from the shock of losing her entire class in a bus crash on a social studies field trip she was absent from. This girl, who had once been bullied especially bad, had made it her mission to seek out and prevent bullying of others. She was shunned by the boys who she annoyed by doing this, but everyone else admired her sense of justice, and she became very popular among those in her class. Looking at her now, no one could imagine that she had once been a victim of bullying herself. Even though she's regained her happy school life, she can't help but detest bullying. Even when her warnings about bullying lead to quarrels with the boys, she will not back down. Seeing her as she was now, Marie had gained a new respect for the girl's strength. "Hey, over here! Here, pass, pass!" "Wait, stop it, give it back!" A group of boys were playing catch with someone's pencil case. The owner of the pencil case was telling them to give it back while chasing it back and forth between them. "Hey, you boys! Stop bullying!" Yukari yells at them. She scolds them for taking their playing too far, not knowing where to draw the line between teasing and bullying. This is a scene that the students of this class have become well acquainted with. Yukari takes the pencil case from them and hands it back to the owner. "Here you go, Yoshikawa-kun." Thank you. Masaki Yoshikawa timidly takes the case from her. The boys from earlier stood there jeering at the sight of that. "Yoshikawa, you're so lame. You just got saved by a girl. I bet you play with girls all the time, you sissy." Masaki had a short, petite build. When compared to the other boys who had hit growth spurts earlier than he had, he looked very small. Because of that, he was often poked fun at by the mean boys with better physiques. It didn't take long for that poking fun at the change into full-fledged bullying. Ever since Yukari showed up, the bullying in this class has, rather impressively, gradually disappeared. Nevertheless, these boys had no intention of giving up on Masaki, their newest toy. They had continued their bullying behind the scenes, and it had been getting worse day after day. Masaki lowered his head with an uncomfortable expression at the sight of the boys jeering at him. He quickly snatched the pencil case from Yukari's hand. I didn't ask you to help me." "But weren't you being bullied?" I wasn't being bullied!" There was no sincerity in those words, but Masaki blurted them out to seem tough. He was a bit self-conscious about being bullied, but feeling like he'd lose if he admitted it, he endured it this whole time. The bullies agreed with Masaki, claiming they would never bully him. "You're really not being bullied?" "No, I'm not, at all." Yukari was the only one who heard him. His voice was too quiet to be heard by anyone but her. "If you ever need me to lend you my help, let me know." "I don't need to be helped by a girl!" Masaki shouted at her and returned to his seat. The bullies agreed with him and cackled. Masaki laughed along with them as if in agreement, but his laugh was a bit awkward. He had a personality that was easy to make fun of, so this wasn't bullying, it was just teasing. He forced himself to believe that. You're so slow, Yoshikawa. Hurry up! Hurry up! I can't. It's too heavy. Don't let any of them touch the ground. If you drop even one, we'll throw your pants away. They were forcing Masaki to carry a multitude of backpacks on their way home from school. He had them on his back, on his front, in both hands, and on both shoulders. It wasn't so much the weight as his trouble at keeping balance that was almost causing him to drop them. But they just kept mocking him, saying that they wouldn't let him off easy if he dropped any. In their hands, they swung Masaki's pants back and forth. They said they would throw them away if he even let one of the bags touch the ground just slightly. And so, Masaki was walking pantless, his underwear shamefully displayed, carrying multiple backpacks. The weight of the bags was nothing next to the disgrace of being forced to walk dressed like that. Hey, hurry up! Make it to this telephone pole! Run, Yoshikawa! Sprint! Sprint! I can't. Run! Run! Or we'll throw your pants in the gutter. The boys hit his butt, urging him to run. That made Masaki speed up. Stop! That hurts! Ah! He lost his balance slightly for a moment, and all the backpacks came tumbling down. And one of them fell into the gutter. What the hell? Don't drop my backpack in the gutter! Ah! That hurts! Ah! With an unbridled rage on his face, the owner of that backpack kicked at Masaki's butt over and over with all his strength as if it were a soccer ball. His white underwear was quickly dirtied with mud. Stop it! That hurts! Ouch! You did that on purpose! You dropped my bag in the gutter on purpose, damn it! It was on purpose. He definitely did it on purpose. It was on purpose, wasn't it? Don't fuck around with me. Ow. Stop. I really didn't mean to. I'm sorry. Really? You being serious? Really. Seriously. Sorry. 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 Okay then. We'll forgive you. We're friends after all, right? You gotta trust your friends, right? Thanks. But since you dropped my bag, you've got to do a punishment game. Time to dunk your pants in the gutter. No, stop that. We promised that if you dropped them, we'd play a punishment game, right? Aren't we friends? Friends gotta uphold their promises. That's... Huh? What is it? Are we not friends? We're not friends? Huh? Huh? I'm your friend, aren't I? We're friends. Friends, huh? While pressuring him for an answer, he kicked Masaki's butt many more times. Many, many times with so much strength that it couldn't prove anything except that they weren't friends at all. Ouch! We're friends! Friends, we're friends! See? We're friends, right? Okay then, keep your promise. You're gonna keep it, right? Don't friends keep promises? Yeah, I'll keep it. I'll keep it. Okay, here. It's your promise, so you do it. The bully held the pants out to him. He wasn't holding them out to politely return them, of course. It's a promise, right? If you drop our bags, your pants have gotta get dunked. Do it now. We're friends, so you gotta keep your promise. If you don't do it, you're not our friend, just a liar. If you're not our friend, we're not gonna go easy on you. Liars need to be punished. The bullies drew closer, threatening him. There's no way Masaki could refuse them. In the end, with the accompaniment of the bullies' jeers, he had to dunk his own pants in the gutter. When he got home, his mother got mad at him, asking how he got his pants so dirty. Not wanting to admit that he was being bullied, Masaki said that he was messing around with his friends and got them dirty. This wasn't the first time this had happened. He went up to his room, set down his backpack, and sat, miserable. And he threw down his pillow and kicked it over and over again, as if he were kicking himself. Hey! You guys aren't bullying Yoshikawa-kun again, are you? We're not bullying him. Right, buddy? Yeah. If you're not bullying him, then why are so many of you crowding around him? Today as well, Masaki was being surrounded and bullied. According to them, they were just hanging out and teasing him. But it was incredibly obvious to both Masaki and Yukari that he was being outright bullied. Hey, Yoshikawa, you tell her too. We're just good friends hanging out and she needs to leave us alone. We're friends, right? Yeah. Yoshikawa-kun, come here. Yukari grabbed Masaki's arm and forcibly pulled him outside the classroom. The bullies jeered at him for that, with mocking exclamations of, "They're going out," and whistling. Once out in the hallway, Masaki angrily pulled his arm out of Yukari's hand. What do you want, Sakaki? Let go of me. Is everything really fine? Are those mean kids really your friends? Would friends really do such mean things to you? Of course not, right? It's not like that. Are you telling me that it isn't bullying? It's not bullying. Piss off. He didn't want to accept the fact that he was being bullied. He knew he was being bullied, but he refused to admit it. If he didn't admit he was being bullied, then he wasn't. He was just the kind of person people like to play around with and tease. Believing that was the last resort he had. Of course, Yukari knew that as well. She knew it was part of his male pride to not want to let himself be seen as weak by someone of the opposite sex. But because of that, his bullying has only gotten worse and worse. As things are now, the bullies really don't believe that what they're doing is bullying. Even he, as the victim, by not being able to admit he's being bullied, he's halfway convinced himself that this is really just playful banter with friends. There's no preferable way to be bullied. They're all equally horrid, but still, Yukari felt that being bullied like that without even realizing it is particularly awful. Are you really having fun like this, Yoshikawa-kun? Yeah, I'm having fun. Please. Tell me the truth. I'm your ally, Yoshikawa-kun. I'll protect you. So work together with me and help me stop the bullying. To Masaki, the act of admitting that he was being bullied was the source of much nervousness for him. With that one utterance, he was thrown into a frenzy-like rage. I thought I told you I'm not being bullied. No one is bullying me like that. This is none of your business. Don't talk to me ever again. You're being a nuisance. Yukari understood. She understood that he didn't really mean what he had said, but the helping hand she extended was unable to reach. Yukari couldn't lend a hand unless Masaki was willing to take it. Even if she tried to continue this discussion, he wasn't going to open up to her. Yukari decided to drop it here and let out a big sigh. Okay, I'll try not to meddle in your affairs anymore. Good. Can I go now? If I'm together with you for too long, people are going to start weird rumors and stuff. I can become your ally at any moment. If you're ever really in trouble, you can come talk to me at any time. I won't, ever. Masaki spat out those words and turned around on his heels. He felt a bit of kindness in her words, but if he recognized it, it'd mean admitting defeat. He hurried straight back to the classroom, while his heart stung with a small pain. Since that time, whenever Yukari saw Masaki getting pushed around by the bullies in the classroom, she never really interfered. It's not that she had abandoned him. She simply tried to wait until he voluntarily decided he had enough of the bullying. Someone who is being bullied must have the resolve to stop that bullying themselves. That was Yukari's theory. If they don't have that resolve, even if a third party steps in and stops the bullying, it will only be a temporary fix. Of course, gaining that resolve is no simple task to someone who is being bullied. She knew that all too well. But she wanted him to have that strength. When he did ask for help from her, she strived to stand by his side and help out as if she had been there all along. If the bullying ever got too serious, she would force her way into the situation, but she avoided going any further than that. However, the number of occurrences in which she would have to force her way in to stop the bullying was increasing. The teacher even issued a few warnings to them, but the bullies never let up, and the boy being bullied never admitted it. Masaki Yoshikawa's situation gradually became increasingly more serious. After school, at dusk, it's past the time when most of the students should have already left to go home. Some kids could still be seen playing in the schoolyard, but there shouldn't be any students still remaining inside the building. Masaki was made to stay after class to do his work as the class representative. Once that was over, he was about to return to the classroom. He didn't volunteer to be the class representative. The bullies had hatched a scheme and voted him into the position against his will. From the point of view of the students, the class representative was nothing more than an annoyance that made them do extra work and bother them. Naturally, he didn't have the charisma that the position required, and so he was the class representative in name only. Now that it was dusk, the inside of the school had fallen completely silent. The kids having fun playing in the schoolyard were just about audible, but they were so far away that it sounded somewhat sad. Masaki had gone out on the balcony and was watching them play. From this far away, dyed in the colors of twilight, their expressions hardly seemed lifelike. Masaki let out a weak sigh. Lately, he felt like even his consciousness had grown weak. His head felt like it was perpetually surrounded in a haze. He couldn't even remember what he had for breakfast yesterday, or even this morning for that matter. That was probably his body's way of subconsciously protecting his heart. Every day the bullying gets worse, but paradoxically, he refused to admit it. In order to prevent that suffering, the haze took over his head and both his memories and pain faded away. That's not to say that he was at ease. Even when given anesthesia at the dentist's office, it doesn't reduce the pain to nothing. That said, if he didn't have that anesthesia, his heart would have been smashed to pieces long ago. When used in the dentist's office, the medical procedure is finished before the anesthesia wears off, but the bullying he faced was rather severe and never ended. The anesthesia of his heart could no longer evade that pain, so he had no choice but to use an even stronger medicine to ease the pain. As he looked down on the schoolyard beneath him, it was only natural that he would consider the liberation that jumping from there would give him. Masaki looked down at that ground. He imagined jumping from the balcony and melting away into the sky, his soul melting into the sky as his body was softly enveloped by the earth. It was a strange thought. Before now, whenever he would look down from a high place, he would feel fear. But now, he felt a childlike impulse like wanting to take a running dive into a soft hotel bed. If I jump from here, you'll be liberated. Within Masaki's heart, someone answered. That's right. If you jump from here, you'll be liberated. From everything. What does it mean to be liberated? Liberation means eternal peace. No one will ever torment you again. You'll be able to sleep eternally and peacefully. Yes, someone answered within his heart. If what they said was true, then he had no reason whatsoever to hesitate. Come, jump now, and grant yourself peace. Don't be afraid. I'm right here. I will catch you. Masaki was probably having a daydream at that point. It was a mysterious wonder as well as a beautiful fantasy. On the ground below, he saw a bewitching illusion of a carpet of red flowers spreading out before him. It was a garden of Higanbana, a fleeting carpet of blood-red Higanbana gently blooming and spreading outwards. In the center of that flower garden stood a black-haired girl looking up at me. Come on, Masaki. I'll catch you. The girl gracefully smiled and extended both her arms this way. If I jump, I can escape from this miserable reality and be welcomed to that fleeting, beautiful world of Higanbana. There will be no more school, no more bullying. There would be no more pain in the form of punishment games. There would be no more being forced to do embarrassing things under the false pretense of being friends. Why do you hesitate? What hope is left for you in this world? Do I have any? Do I have any hope left in this world? In that case, come to me, to this world of Higanbana. Come here to me. Make your own decision and come to me on your own, with your own arms and your own legs. Climb off that balcony. By now, that field of blooming Higanbana was the only thing reflecting in Masaki's eyes. Slowly, he crept up to the railing of the balcony and raised his leg. Wait! There are no flowers that bloom in death! Suddenly, another voice yelled out. That harsh, scolding voice brought Masaki back to his senses. So I've been found out by Marie again. While you were out looking for sweets, I thought I would try helping myself to a kid I've had my eyes on for a while now. I found some sweets. Today we're having Monica, so please stop this hunt. At some point, a second girl had appeared in the field of Higanbana, this one wearing glasses. I don't want to. Besides, this isn't even hunting. I'm just inviting him. I'm just telling him about a world where his soul will be more at ease. Yoshikawa-kun, please reconsider this. There are plenty of things you can do while still living. But when you're dead, there's not a single thing that you can do anymore. What can he do while he's alive? There's nothing. That's why he's suffering. What can he do when he's dead? After death, there's only regret and suffering. Masaki didn't know what to think. Was this a dream? Two unfamiliar girls had appeared out of nowhere and were now quarreling. But he had no idea what they were saying. If he died, he would be liberated from everything. But after he's dead, he can't do anything anymore. What does he have to live for anyway? Nothing. That's not true. Even he must have hopes and dreams, things that he still wants to accomplish in his life. Yoshikawa-kun, please remember that. Masaki, do you really have anything you want to accomplish? I've been watching you for a long time. Is there something that you have been working towards? I haven't seen it. You've just given yourself up to the flow of life, like a leaf on the surface of the water, just being swept along. And in the end, you will become stagnant, waste, and rot away. As you are now, that is very likely the end you will meet. He had no response. Up until today, Masaki had had no motive, mission, or goal. There's only one thing he's been doing. Refusing to admit that he's being bullied. And that's it. All you've done is deny. As long as you keep denying, then it's not bullying. So you're not really being bullied. That is all you have accomplished. Can that really be called living? Her reasoning was so strong that it brought a pain to Masaki's chest. All he had done was shut his heart away in stone. Humans are not stone. That is no way to live. Higanbana-san, you've said too much. But isn't it the truth? He may have been living his life like that up until now, but that doesn't mean he has to live that way for the rest of his life. As long as people are alive, they can constantly try and accomplish new things. If you kill yourself on an impulse, you've thrown that all away. As long as you're still alive, there are things you can do. When you die, you can't do anything. Thinking of it that way is both sad and frustrating. If you have the nerve to jump to your own death, then you have the resolve to risk your life. Being driven to my own death, isn't that the same as being killed by those guys? Then why should I be the only one to die? Even though I meet the same end, doing so without fighting back at all, it's just too frustrating. Aww, what's this? Looks like he's losing his desire for death. This is your fault, Marie. Just one more push and I would have had him. Yoshikawa-kun, if you have the resolve to die, then before you do die, there are many things you can do. So please, show some courage. Courage. Don't give up hope. Try talking to everyone. To your teachers, your father, your mother, and your friends. Even if I talk, none of them will listen. Masaki's heart trembled with anger and sorrow. He tried talking to his teachers, but they just treated him like he was to blame as well and wouldn't protect him at all. As for his parents, all they cared about was work. They would always say something about parents not getting involved in fights between children and wouldn't help him at all. And he didn't even have any friends that he could honestly talk to. And then, in the back of Masaki's mind, he remembered Yukari. But he quickly shook the thought out of his head. Screw that. I'm not being bullied. I don't need a girl to help me. That girl is always meddling in other people's business. It may be fun for you, but being saved by a girl would only cause me misery. Damn it! Damn it! Everyone keeps looking down on me. If I killed myself right now, what would they say? Would they just casually attend my funeral and pretend to grieve my passing? Would they go up to my parents and shamelessly tell them they were good friends of mine? And then, would they talk about the good times and talk about how I was bullied by some bad kids and pretend that they were the heroes of the story? No! Fuck that! Like hell I'm gonna die. Like hell I'm gonna be killed. Huh. Well, this isn't good. Looks like he's got the will to live again. It looks like he's taking in a different direction than I intended, though. As Masaki's heart filled with anger, his desire to jump to his death rapidly vanished. And thus, the two girls in the field of Higanbana gradually disappeared, and the view of the schoolyard died and twilight reappeared. Breathing heavily, Masaki hit the railing of the balcony. If I'm willing to die, then I'll kill instead. But even if I do that, in the end I'll just end up getting arrested. And if I do get arrested, those guys would just say I was always a strange guy, and was always snapping like that, and keep shamelessly giving excuses to take the blame off them. Shit. Shit. This is annoying. So annoying. There's no damn way I'm going to just lie down and die. I'm definitely going to live, and get even with those bastards. But, how? There isn't really a way for him to kill them. He could maybe try to take them to the grave with him, but in the end that would leave him dead too, or at the very least arrested. It was a double-edged sword. Engulfed in his anger, he continued to think of many terrible thoughts, but in the end, none of them would have worked. Realistically speaking, the best he could do for revenge was to sneak some tacks into the indoor shoes in their school locker. But even then, he would obviously be the first person they would suspect. But this is those bullies he's talking about. If they even so much as suspect he's behind something like that, they wouldn't hesitate to start treating him even worse. Masaki slowly turned on his heels and went back into the classroom. He no longer wanted to die. He wanted to have his revenge in whatever way possible. If he died, he would never be able to do that. He had the privilege to repay everything that he had been done to him up until now. To willingly throw that privilege away, that's beyond stupid and beyond aggravating. He was now painfully aware of his situation. He knew all too well that he was being bullied. At some point, I will have my revenge. Eventually, I will. Damn it. It was different to the way Yukari would have wanted, but because he finally accepted that he was being bullied and wasn't trying to kill himself to escape from it, she would probably have to agree with him. Masaki walked wearily home. With nothing to take his rage out on, he cast his eyes down at the ground, while clutching his fists so hard they trembled. On his way home, he walked past a large vacant lot. It was probably originally a housing site, but it fell into disrepair and the weeds were left to run rampant. Throughout that field, the purple flowers of azumi, Japanese thistles, bloomed. It was like a garden made for thistles. Masaki suddenly stopped in his tracks and stepped into the thicket of thistles. Wasn't there some sort of story about thistles that he heard somewhere? That's right. There's a story about thistles in one of the 8 school mysteries. A field of blooming thistles at school, or on the way home from it. In the language of flowers, they represent revenge. Suddenly, he heard a disembodied female voice. There isn't anyone standing next to him, so where did that voice come from? At that moment, a strong breeze passed by and blew the thistles back and forth like a wave, and within the blink of an eye, there in that field of the thistles stood a girl. No, a woman. She may have been a middle schooler or high schooler. No, it's more likely that she was a college student. Her sculpted face and long, beautiful hair made her seem very intellectual and adult-like. A pitiful child who was always being bullied suddenly becomes a new person after changing classes or coming back from summer break, and is born anew as a bully themselves. That is the revenge-granting power of a magical azami, a magical thistle. That's right. I remember. That's one of the 8 school mysteries. Azami the Vengeful. It was one of the 8 ghost stories of the school. Occasionally there would be a timid, bullied student who would come back after a long vacation, and upon the start of the new term, would be born again as a different person. That was because they ate a magical thistle from Azami the Vengeful. At school, and on the way home, there were plenty of ordinary-looking thistles. But every once in a while, there's apparently a magical thistle mixed in with them, and only those who are bullied can see it. If that bullied child eats that flower, the frustration they had felt up until then will be overtaken by anger, and they will be born anew as a bully themselves. Whenever a kid shows up to school and their personality has done a complete 180, you'll often hear some kids whisper between themselves, "Did they eat a thistle?" When they do, they're referring to the story of Azami the Vengeful. Hello, Masaki Yoshikawa-kun. I assume you can see me? Oh, yeah? Masaki instantly knew what she meant by asking such a strange question. He knew that she was a being who could not normally be seen. Right now, he was speaking to something not of this world. He was in no way intimidated by this encounter, but nevertheless, every muscle in his body tensed at her presence. There is no need to be frightened. My name is Azami, 4th ranked of the school yokai, Azami the Vengeful. Azami the Vengeful. How unfortunate. If you can see me, then that means you're a pitiful bullied child. Is that true? If someone had said that to him earlier, he probably would have become enraged and refused to accept the fact. But he's different now. He fully understands his own situation. That was surely the reason why he met her today. Masaki knew that. Is the story of Azami the Vengeful really true? It's true. A magical thistle that grants the power of revenge. The only ones who can find them are the bullied children who truly want that power. And does that thistle really exist? If you truly want them to, then the thistle will whisper to you, "Look here, at these purple flowers." Azami pointed to the thicket of purple flowers. Somewhere in there, a magical thistle was mixed in. Strain your eyes, clear out your ears, and try to find one. There were countless purple flowers. Each and every one looked like just an ordinary thistle. There didn't seem to be any special ones among them. No, there must be one. He's already seen and had a conversation with something not of this world, so there must be one. There's an otherworldly flower in here that only those who are bullied can find. And he should be able to find it. And then, coming from that thicket of thistles, he felt like he could hear a faint noise. It was like a small bell being shaken by the wind. He was certain he could hear it. Whenever the wind blew through the flowers, he could hear that faint noise as well. Masaki ventured further into the thicket, staring intently at the group of flowers where he heard the sound coming from. And finally, he found a strange-looking thistle. It looked like the flower was tinged with a faint light. It was a very weak and delicate light, like that of a small firefly. But to a miserable child with a heart darkened by bullying, this faint light is clearly visible. Is this it? Good work. Yes, that is the magical thistle containing the power of revenge. He picked the thistle from the ground. It made a quiet ringing sound. Even when plucked from its roots, the faint light coming from the flower did not disappear. If you eat that flower, you will gain its magical power. And when I do so, I will become a bully? Depending on exactly how bad you've been bullied up until now, the strength of its magic will increase, and you will be reborn and a bully feared by all. I won't be bullied anymore. Do you think that bullies ever get bullied by other bullies? Of course they don't. Bullies are people who live hand in hand with bullying. As long as you keep bullying others, you yourself will never be bullied again. If I eat this flower, I'll have my payback. Revenge for every horrible thing that they've done to me up until now. All the ways that he's imagined getting his revenge while biting his pillow at night in desperation. If he could be born again as a bully, he could turn the tables on those bullies and give them a taste of their own medicine. And then he would be happy and filled with pleasure. If he eats this flower, all of that will become reality. Without hesitation, Masaki bit the flower off its stalk and chewed. A bitter taste spread throughout his mouth. An urge to throw up overcame him. But he didn't spit it out. He kept chewing. He wanted to make sure that he absorbed every last bit of magic power it had. In this world, there must always be retribution, punishment for those who are evil, and reward to those who are good. But the times have changed. Now there are villains known as bullies attending school, and they run free, doing whatever they want and enjoying their youth right up until they graduate with no punishment whatsoever. Meanwhile, good-natured kids are thrown out into society, still holding the trauma caused by those bullies. That goes against the laws of karma. With a gulp, Masaki swallowed down the chewy thistle. His mouth was filled with an awful bitter taste. But he felt a strange heat rising in his stomach. He was sure that this feeling was that of a sort of power slowly spreading throughout his entire body. Those who bully should know what it's like to be bullied, and those who are bullied have the right to know what it's like to be the bully. Like night exists because there is day, like winter exists because there is summer. It is not that odd for you to be born again. With this, I will become a bully. It still didn't feel real to him. But the warmth in his stomach was, without a doubt, the real thing. By the time you go to school tomorrow, you will revel in the magical power of revenge. Live as you wish to from now on, because you have not been able to do so until today. Thank you. No need for that, thanks. If there's any you should thank, it's the you of yesterday who endured so you could reach today. I will always be watching over you. Thank you, Azumi-san. Thank you very much. Azumi smiled and slowly began to fade away. The wind blew one more time, and with that her body became completely disappeared, and he was left standing alone in the thicket of thistles. He wanted to believe that what just happened was all a daydream, but the warmth in his stomach was still there. Masaki looked down at his hands. He could feel a warmth spreading through the palms of his hands as well. Could he really become a bully? We'll find out at school tomorrow. Masaki clenched his hands into fists and left the vacant lot behind. Azumi was watching Masaki walk off into the distance. Just then another yokai would appear next to her. As expected of my big sister, you're as skillful as ever. Sumire, humans won't act even when threatened. The best way to get them to do something is through acceptance and positive affirmation and enticement. Your ability to entice is unsurpassed. I too once fell for something like that and had many of my snacks taken from right under my nose. Ouch! With a smile on her face, Azumi pinched Sumire's cheeks and stretched them out like two balls of mochi. If my cute little sister requests it, I could help you out with your hunts every now and again. I still bear a grudge for what she did to me last time. That damnable Higanbana. I still haven't forgiven her for stealing away all my cute little flowers I raised to be bullies. But Higanbana's fierceness is nothing to bat an eye at. Getting my revenge on her may be difficult. And thus you changed your goals. You are so admirable, Sumire. It's not good to set your sights too high. It's not Higanbana that I can't forgive, it's that Yukari Sakaki. How dare she spout those pretentious words to me about how bullying is wrong. A mere human made a mockery of me. Tee! Bullying is divine intervention. Trying to prevent it is just as foolish as trying to stop the sun from setting. Come, Yukari. Show us how you intend to stand up to the bullying caused by the sisters Azumi and Sumire. The next day, Masaki was filled with a sense of both determination and nervousness as he approached the school. He felt like a transfer student on their first day at a new school. He was no longer going to be bullied. He was not going to be bullied again. Determination, resolution. He repeated those words to himself once more as he stepped inside. Before putting on his indoor shoes, he checked inside them. Just as he thought, there were tacks put inside again. If he was the same person he was yesterday, upon seeing that, he would see this as just another horrible start to a bad day and hang his head in depression. But today was a little different. Every day, every single day, he kept getting these pranks pulled on him. He didn't feel depressed about it. He felt an all too natural sense of rage. He grabbed his shoes and violently shook all the tacks out of them. When he got to the classroom, he saw the usual group of bullies crowded around his desk doing something to it. This sort of thing had happened before as well. Back then, for some reason, he would just start to feel really awkward and aimlessly wander the halls while waiting for them to finish their prank. But today was different. They looked small today, like tiny little kindergartners. And those little brats were playing a prank on him. They were screwing with him, and he was going to teach them a lesson. Those were the feelings his head was filled with. Masaki stamped the heels of his shoes hard into the ground as he walked up to the group. Hey! What are you doing? What are you doing to my desk? The group of kids turned around with a fright at Masaki's low, angry voice. Surprise spread across their faces. They looked like elementary schoolers caught playing light-hearted mischief by a delinquent high schooler. Each of them held a pencil and were scribbling vulgarities on Masaki's desk. Words born of anger boiled from the depths of Masaki's mind and slowly crept out of his mouth. Erase it. I said erase it! They jumped at the sound of his stern voice. In a panic, they all grabbed erasers and started rubbing the scribbles away. Once they were finished, they practically sprinted away from Masaki's desk. Hey, wait. You missed a spot. That wasn't me who wrote that. Well, it wasn't me, it must have been you. No, it wasn't me. I don't care who did it. Just hurry up and erase it. Once again, they jumped up and hurriedly started erasing. After they left, Masaki leisurely pulled out his chair and sat down. Before today, whenever he sat in a chair, he would bring his knees together as if cowering. But today was different. Today he felt like his body was much bigger, and he naturally spread his legs out while he sat. Masaki could feel it. He could feel how different he was compared to yesterday. And his classmates and the bullies felt it too. There was something off about the normally timid and bully Yoshikawa-kun. His classmates would whisper things like that back and forth between each other, but then Masaki would make eye contact with them and they'd turn around and shrink down. A strange feeling was gradually building up within Masaki's mind. For the first time in his life, Masaki knew what it felt like to be feared by his classmates. A sort of uplifting feeling spread throughout his whole body. How's it going? You're not getting bullied anymore, are you? Azumi's figure appeared before him. Azumi-san, there's something different about me today. Different how? It's kind of like, I don't know, like the classroom feels much bigger today. Like the ceiling is higher up than usual. No, it's more like the world just feels brighter all of a sudden. Even though the classroom itself isn't actually changed at all, the more he thinks about it, the more he feels like it has changed. put it simply, he feels like his outlook has significantly expanded. He once thought that bullies and those who got bullied were the same, just humans. It's wrong. Who would think that would made the difference between being a bully or being bullied would all come from down to one simple way of looking at the world. Yes, this is the world of bullies. Amazing. Feels like even the taste of the air has changed. It's unbelievable and feels so refreshing. Us yokai are not the only ones who hunt. Bullying is the human equivalent of hunting. We hunt down souls and eat them. Humans are the same way, using bullying to hunt souls and feed on them. Another yokai appeared, telling him about how bullying is like hunting. By feasting on the souls of others, bullies are able to reach the world you are in now. Basically, right now, you're living in a same world as those who had been bullying you up until yesterday. Conversely, what was your world like before now? Was it a dark, small, and stifling world? Yes, it was. That's because your soul was being devoured by them. As your world was being eaten, it became small and dark, and their world was bright and refreshing. Bullying is so interesting. Masaki somewhat understood now. Back when he was feeling depressed, those bullies were always joking around and acting all happy like a bunch of idiots. If this is how they were seeing the world, then he can understand why they feel like that. From now on, you will take back the world that was stolen from you, and then you will make them pay for what they did at the expense of your own cheerful world. That will be their punishment. Here is where their karma will come into play. Good morning. As she walked in through the doorway, Yukari felt like the mood in the classroom was a bit different than usual. She was wondering if there might have been a fight. But when she looked over at Masaki, she didn't see any evidence of a fight on him. But something about him was different compared to before. But at the very least, he didn't have the same pitiful bullied feel to him. Yoshikawa-kun. Good morning. Morning. What? Is there something on my face or something? No, it's nothing. There's no doubt about it. He was somehow different to how he was yesterday. To put it nicely, he seemed stronger. To put it not so nicely, he seemed a little rude. But if he hung his head in shame as usual, it would bring the bullies over to him. So it's probably better this way, even if his expression does seem a little mean. Maybe he just finally gathered up some strength in his heart, and that just made him look a little bit meaner overall. That's what Yukari thought as she walked past the front of Masaki's desk. Yukari, the girl who preached to me about how she would never forgive bullying. I wonder how you're going to fight this bullying. I'm looking forward to it. Even though he was used to being bullied, Masaki wasn't quite sure what he should be doing as a bully himself. Azumi had told him that it was just freedom to do whatever he wanted, but because he had such freedom, he had no idea where to start. But as he was sitting, listening to a boring class lecture, he could feel that sense of liberation called freedom bubbling up within him. Oh yeah, didn't they used to throw bits of eraser at me during class? Why don't you try getting revenge for that? Since he had made some mistakes in his notebook earlier, he had happened to have some eraser shavings on his desk. He gathered them up in his fingers and made a bunch of little balls out of them, just like the ones he used to be hit with. Go ahead and try it. They're used to throwing eraser bits at people, and you're used to getting hit by them. So now you should return the favor. This is retribution for their actions. That's what this is. Exactly. Now come on, go for it. See what it's like. Masaki picked up one of those eraser balls and took aim at the head of one of the bullies sitting in front of him. He got a little nervous, but it was a thrilling sort of nervousness, nothing like being afraid of being caught throwing it. And throw. The eraser ball hit the back of the bully's head. It didn't look like the kid noticed, but it got stuck in his hair. Masaki found this funny and unintentionally let out a little chuckle. He didn't notice, so let's try one more time. Throw. The bully had a bunch of little eraser balls stuck in his hair. They looked so stupid that Masaki could barely stop himself from bursting out laughing. Usually, the only thing he could do during class time was absent-mindedly stare down at his desk. Had he ever had this much fun during class? No, not at all. And this fun world is the world of bullies. I can't stop throwing these things. It's just so fun. Eventually, the bully finally realized that he was being pelted with eraser shavings and turned around to look behind him. But the expression on his face was that of fear. What? Don't turn around while class is in session. Once Masaki threatened him, the bully nervously turned back around, brushing his hair. This really is funny. Masaki picked up his eraser again and needlessly rubbed it on his paper to make more shavings. Then, he made those into new eraser balls and started flicking them again. The target awkwardly brushed his hair again and glanced behind him again, only to meet eyes with Masaki, and nervously turned back towards the front of the class once again. It looked like he wanted to say something, but he was too scared to open his mouth. Because Masaki had once been really severely bullied by this particular kid, he knew exactly how he was feeling at this very moment. Good. Realize what you've done. Realize how mean you have all been to me up until now. Let that feeling soak into your body. He's not half bad. He's got some real potential as a bully. That's because bullying is fun. It's like a forbidden fruit. Whoever eats it begins to crave it, and I'm the one in charge of giving the fruit to them. Those who know the frustration of being bullied are ideal candidates for becoming bullies, and those who drown in the pleasures of bullying make good candidates for being bullied themselves. Masaki was bullied pretty badly, so when he rebounds, he makes a great bully. Come now, Masaki-kun. Take all the frustration you've felt so far and release it. You have the potential of becoming a great bully, and tremble in fear all those who bullied Masaki. Know how badly he suffered. That will be retribution for your actions. By the end of that day, the change in Masaki had become the hot topic among his classmates. Did you hear the rumors? They say he ate one of the magical thistles. His classmates would whisper behind his back. Just like what used to happen to Masaki, he would get away with pulling pranks on those who bullied him by insisting that they were being his friends. Simply by doing that they used to do to him, he was able to unleash a good deal of bullying on them. But everyone knew that Masaki used to be a pitiful bully kid before, so most of them realized that what he was doing was a justified revenge. Those bullies are now getting bullied in return. That's what they deserve. They should be taught the dangers of bullying. That's what everyone thought, and pretended not to see Masaki enacting his revenge. Yoshikawa-kun, you've changed recently. Have I? Maybe you're right. Masaki grinned a sour smile. Did something happen? It's just like all the rumors say. Rumors? You mean the ones about eating a thistle? Yeah, pretty much. I'm done being bullied around. I see. She saw confidence in Masaki's face. There was a time when he used to always hang his head and cast his eyes down. Compared to that, he now seemed overflowing with vitality. No matter the circumstances, Yukari was honestly happy to see him being not only confident, but also no longer being bullied. It's true that they were being really mean, bullying you so often. Even I think they kind of deserve this. Serves them right. But you can't become a bully yourself. What's so wrong with that? I was bullied by them for so long, so what's wrong with a little payback? I understand how you feel, Masaki-kun. That's why I've been letting this slide for now. But if you start to overdo it, I'm going to get mad. So... Who do you think you are? My mom? My teacher? They did whatever the hell they wanted to me. So now I'm doing whatever the hell I want right back. That's just karma. Right? Without it, bullies would just have their way with everything. I hate bullying, and I will never forgive any bullies. I'll never forgive them for what they did to me. When you do something bad, you've got to face the punishment. That's what I'm doing to them. This is my own personal revenge. It's divine retribution. It's just like how a rising sun must set. That's just how things work. Masaki-kun. Masaki's expression had now gotten unpleasant, and he turned his back to her. Yukari could do nothing but watch him walk off, dumbfounded. What's wrong, Yukari? Didn't you say you wouldn't allow bullying? Masaki's bullying is unlike anything you've seen so far. How are you going to fight bullying born from revenge? Masaki didn't realize that he had become a bully at all. He won't give up until he's enacted what he considers the right amount of revenge for all the disgraces inflicted on him. It's been several months since he joined the class at the start of the year, and he had been bullied every single day for that whole time. He wasn't going to be satisfied until he did the same to them for at least the same amount of time. So from the next day on, Masaki came to school with a new devotion. He vowed to spend the next few months completely and utterly bullying those who had bullied him. Even when he thought he might have been bullying them for as long as he had endured, he still didn't give up. After all, didn't they used to team up on him when he was being bullied? He was too lenient on them. There was only one of him, and he had to take turns bullying them one by one. So the amount of time he spent bullying each of them was nowhere near enough. So he just kept bullying more and more, refusing to give up. It wasn't the time he was being bullied. It was all the time the bullies had spent combined. He had been bullied by many kids, so if he didn't pay each of them back for every single day they had bullied him, his revenge wouldn't be complete. From that day on, Masaki's bullying became more conspicuous. He started playing pranks and teasing them in unspeakable ways. At first, he was somewhat cautious. He was being careful about not going too far. He was worried they might get angry at him and retaliate. But they didn't get angry no matter what he did. They would just fake a vaguely unpleasant smile and do whatever he said. One day, one of the bullies just couldn't handle it anymore and started to cry. Masaki was a little surprised, but he still didn't let up. They had made him cry plenty of times. This was his revenge. This too was entirely justified. Was I a bully? Not at all. I'm the one who's the scapegoat here, the victim. I know, bullying is bad. It's absolutely unforgivable. That's why I have to use it to get revenge on them. What will happen if I don't get revenge? Those bullies will win. And if that's allowed to happen, this world will be full to the brim with bullying and those who benefit from it. I can't let that happen. This is justice. Those who bully will be crushed by the iron hammer of justice. That is how justice is enacted. But not everyone is capable of enacting that justice. If someone who hasn't faced bullying tries to enact that justice, that's nothing more than bullying itself. Only those who know that pain are qualified to bring justice without it being bullying. I am the one who is qualified. I am the one who has endured that bullying. So what I'm doing to them is not bullying. It's simply justice. Besides, I have no intention of ever becoming a bully. I'm only dealing out the appropriate amount of justice for their sins. How long will that be for? Until they realize their own sins and devote their lives to apology and reparation. I will continue until their consciences awaken. That's right. I will enact my justice and endlessly until they become sincere and honest people. Are you out of your mind, Yoshikawa-kun? That's just bullying. That's not justice at all. Yukari stood blocking Masaki's path, protecting one of the bullies. Masaki had stolen the bully's key under the false pretense of a treasure hunt. He had thrown the key into a muck-filled gutter and was forcing the boy to search through it. Furthermore, he claimed it was a time trial, in which Masaki could count to 10 and then kick the bully in the butt. Yukari had taken a different route home from usual that day for various reasons, and happened across this display of violence. You poor thing. I'll help you look for your key. Masaki-kun, you help find it too. Shut up. We were just having a little treasure hunt, right? We're friends, right? Those were the same words that had been thrown at Masaki all the time back in the day. The bullying. Actually, it would be strange to still call him a bully at this point, but at any rate, the bully moved his lips into a sheepish smile and answered Masaki with a nervous, yes. How is this playing? This is clearly bullying. It's not bullying, it's playing. When I was in his place, they made me play like this all the time. Right? You would make me carry your backpacks, and then make me play a punishment game of throwing my pants in the gutter. Right? Yeah. See? It's not bullying. A girl like you might think it's bullying, but this is just how we play. Girls should just mind their own business. I will do no such thing. I refuse to overlook bullying. You bitch, are you calling me a bully? I'm the one being bullied here. I'm the victim. Ah! He grabbed Yukari's collar and pushed her against a wall. Before, he thought that she had a relatively large build for a girl, but when she backed up against the wall like this, she seemed unexpectedly slender. I'm the one who's bullied. I'm not the bully here. Don't ever call me a bully again. Are we clear? No, I'll say it again. You are a bully. You bitch, if you say that one more time! He grabbed her collar again. This time, he applied pressure to her throat, choking her. What happened to you, Yoshikawa-kun? At first, I was glad about the change. To see a kid that was bullied for so long suddenly become stronger. For you to not just take the bullying lying down, but fight back. I thought you were no longer going to be bullied, so I was happy for you. But something about you changed, and now you're nothing more than a bully yourself. I'm not a bully. I'm being bullied. I have wounds on my heart from the days when they would team up and pick on me, and they still haven't healed yet. Until they heal, I'm the one who's being bullied. And those who picked on me, they're the bullies. They're the aggressors and criminals. And so you want to get back at them and have your rightful revenge. I understand how you feel. It's not like I don't understand the feeling of wanting payback for all that. But isn't this enough? Haven't you bullied them enough? It's nowhere near enough. They all ganged up on me when they bullied me. Compared to that, what I can dish out to them alone is far too lenient on them. And you're not the one who can decide whether or not I've had enough to heal my heart. I'm the only one who knows that. I'm the victim, so I'm the only one who can decide the amount of revenge is necessary to heal the wounds caused to my heart. But what if they apologize for everything that they did to you? Would you forgive them then? Only if I find their apology sincere enough. But the only one who can decide if it's sincere enough is me, the victim. Their bullying went on for a long time, so I'm not about to let them off the hook with just a simple, I'm sorry. Masaki kicked the boy's back. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The boy fearfully hid behind Yukari's back on the verge of tears. See? He apologized. Forgive him. Do you really think something that half-assed is going to be enough? They'll have to get down on their knees and profusely apologize for every single day that they bullied me. They will always be the criminals, and I will always be the victim. The wounds on my heart will never disappear, so they should have to apologize forever! There was a sharp echoing sound, and Masaki's vision was pushed slightly to the side. It didn't take him long to realize that Yukari had hit him across the face with her open palm, tears gathering in her eyes. I hate bullies and bullying. I hate those who can't tell the difference between bullying and messing around even more. But I hate bullies like you most of all. Yukari abruptly turned her back to him and patted the shoulder of the boy whose eyes were red from crying, telling him that she'd help him find his key. She was now completely ignoring Masaki. What the... Damn it. What the fuck was that? Sakaki, you bitch! Yukari didn't respond. She'd heard what he said, but she just ignored him. Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! Masaki ran off. Out of everything that had happened to him thus far, being ignored by Yukari probably hurt his heart the most. Or rather, it was a pain that only he could understand. That day was the turning point for him. From then on, everyone, himself included, considered him to be a true bully. Masaki's targets changed. He no longer only bullied those who had once done the same to him. He was now the tyrant of this class. His classmates had no choice but to go about their school lives with their heads held low, trying not to look at him. Everyone lowered their heads gloomily, trying to make themselves as unnoticeable as possible, just as Masaki had once done himself. On the other hand, Masaki's life was like living on a bright, sunny tropical island. Every day was sunny and beautiful and happy. To the others in the class, it felt like the ceiling of the classroom was closing in on them day after day, making the world feel small and dark. But to Masaki, that ceiling felt like a big parasol on the beach next to a resort, providing him with a relaxing shade. In fact, everything was so spacious and comfortable to him that the entire school itself felt like a resort hotel. And in addition to that, just about everything had changed for the better for him. First of all, his grades were improving. His vision had also become sharper, his thinking quicker, and his memory remarkably better. Because of that, he could understand what was written on the blackboard and the contents of the teacher's lectures better. He was soaking up the lessons just like a sponge. Even studying felt like a variety TV show to him. Application exercises were like pleasant little quizzes. And so his grades got even better because of that, and then studying got even more fun as a result. It became a cycle of rising grades for Masaki. And it didn't just apply to studying either. He always exercised more. As his world got brighter, he worked his body harder. His breathing got steadier, and his spirits rose higher. Even a difficult marathon felt like playing and running around with his friends. Ball games, competitions, they all felt like playing. So he gradually got better grades in physical education as well. And thus, that became a source of praise from his teachers, and he quickly became well known amongst them. So whenever Masaki would pick on a classmate, the teacher would take his side and wouldn't see it as bullying. Studying, exercising, he was good at everything. Even the teachers loved him. Masaki was living the ideal school life. How is it, Masaki? This is the world of bullies. It's great. It's hard to believe that this is the world they were living in. The world of those who are bullied is not only one of disdain, but it is also dark and stagnant, with any slight ray of hope immediately erased by the darkness. But the world of bullies is bright, fulfilling, and brimming with hope. It really is. I used to hate studying and exercising, but now I'm doing so well at them. I feel like there's nothing I can't do nowadays. It's not just a feeling. That is truly what you are capable of right now. Right now, you are perfectly accomplished in your schoolwork, school life, and private life. Using your excellence, grades, and self-confidence, you are able to fly yourself to a whole new, even more wonderful world. You must have seen some talented actors, athletes, or politicians on the TV before, and thought to yourself, I'll never be as good as them, right? Each and every one of them is living with the same state of mind as you have right now. You should be able to understand as you are now. It's completely possible for you to reach their level. He understood. The world of humans is built in the shape of a pyramid. All of the top-class human beings use the masses of other people as stepping stones to reach the top. That is the state of mind she was talking about. To oppress everyone and feed on their souls. To brighten his world and become perfect at everything. That is what the teachers admire. Valued people are never judged by anyone. They bully like it's a game and climb to the top like it's a game. On the other hand, those who have their souls eaten will forever be stuck in their small and dark worlds. It's like they fall just to help the bullies reach the top. Bullying is harmful only to those who are bullied. But to those who will reach the top in life, they are just single steps on the stairway to success. Out on the grasslands, lions are a terrifying form of harm to the wild goats. But to the lions, those goats are nothing more than food. The fact that they hunt is not seen as evil or anything of the sort. Rather, the lion is actually praised and admired as the king of the animals. What a magnificent world of bullying they live in. You know what it was like to be bullied before reaching your current state of mind as a bully. Because of that, you have the capability and privilege to climb to any height. The privilege to climb to any height. It's the same as needing to know the darkness of night in order to appreciate the rising sun. You have that privilege because you've seen the darkness of bullying. That's right. I was a miserable, bullied kid for a long, long time. Because I crept around that bottom level of the pyramid for so long, I'm able to understand this world of bullies. Those who bullied you did so only for fun and laughs. They didn't grasp the true magnificence of the world they lived in. Like a scorned caterpillar finally turning into a beautiful butterfly, you can fly yourself anywhere. I will be watching what you accomplish. I am a king who rules over the class and takes on tax on their souls. And as the king, I will use them as stepping stones to reach a higher world. That's right. I have to take myself to a higher world, not just for my sake, but for the sake of my stepping stones as well. I am the king. The king. The king. Stop, Yoshikawa-kun! Please stop already! As I was enjoying myself bullying a classmate, that annoying-ass Yukari Sakaki found me and involved herself in my business again. Everyone else was too scared to stand up to me, but she was the only one left unafraid. At least get down from there! It's pathetic! Masaki was forcing one of the boys from their class to crawl on all fours on the way to his house while he rode on the boy's back. He's just playing taxi with me. He's my underling, so he's more than happy to help me out by being my taxi. Right? Didn't you tell me you were happy to? Say it out loud, you dimwit! I'm happy to. So happy. Upon hearing those words, Masaki finally stopped digging his foot into the boy's butt. Masaki suddenly stood up, but the boy, who was afraid of getting hurt by Masaki again, stayed down on his hands and knees. You were bullied once too, you know. How can you have no sympathy for those you bully now? You've asked that same thing before. It's precisely because I was bullied that I have the capabilities and right to bully as I do now. Who gave you that right? Even if I told you, it wouldn't matter. No one can oppose me now. No one can stop me. I'll go tell your teachers and parents on you. Go ahead and try. With my grades as they are now, I'm an honors student. Both my parents and teachers are more proud of me than anything. Do you really think they'll take your tattling seriously? Still, I refuse to let you get away with bullying. You're such a persistent girl. Why do you care that much about bullying? I was also a bullied child once, so I know the horrors and sorrow that bullying brings. I see. I understand now. The reason for Yukari Sakaki's obsession with bullying is because she was once bullied herself. Were your classmates the one who did it? Yes, the same way your classmates once did it to you. I see. Then you're lucky, since your whole class died in an accident and you got to come to our class. Don't call it being lucky. But it was lucky. If that didn't happen, you would still be facing their bullying right now. You were lucky enough to be saved. I didn't have that luck. No, maybe I did. I found a magical thistle. Yukari was mostly familiar with the story of the magical thistles. Everyone was talking about it after his personality suddenly changed after all, but she never thought that she'd hear Masaki himself say he did it. The magical thistles are one of the 8 mysteries of the school, right? Yeah, I used to think it was just a baseless rumor, but they really exist. Only those who are bullied can find them. They say that if you eat one, you'll be able to become a bully. Did you really? A thistle is just a thistle. They're nothing more than weeds. Even if a bully kid eats one, they shouldn't have any magic power to change them into bullies. But Yukari felt like there was a catch. I was taught about the world of bullies, about how great it was to bully, about how bullying was like hunting and devouring souls. Yoshikawa-kun was taught about the joy of bullying. Yukari was positive. She knew who was whispering to him and tempting him with the joys of bullying. Yukari surveyed the area around her. Naturally, there shouldn't be anyone else here but these 3 children. However, to confirm her suspicion, she spoke. Sumire-chan, you're here, aren't you? Show yourself! It's been a while, Yukari. I'm glad you still remember my name. Was it you who told Yoshikawa-kun about the joys of bullying? It was, wasn't it? It is all karma. Just like how a rising sun must set. Because he was bullied, he deserves to know what it's like to bully. It's divine intervention. Sumire-chan, who are you? This is my older sister, 4th ranked of the school yokai, Azumi the Vengeful. I see. You are the one who gave Yoshikawa-kun the magical thistle that changed him. I had a feeling this was the work of a yokai. You must remember, all we do is teach humans the joy of bullying. Whether they choose to become tainted by it or addicted to it is up to them. We weren't manipulating Masaki. He did it of his own accord. Yukari remembered that. Sumire only teaches the joy of bullying, but once she's done teaching them, they're already become a bully. They lose the humanity in their heart and unwittingly become a pawn of the yokai, able only to continue their streak of bullying. I haven't forgotten how you preached to me about not allowing bullying. To think that a lowly human such as yourself would have such nerve. I will make you know your place. That is why I have borrowed my sister's help and appeared before you once again. Originally, Sumire wanted to get revenge on Higanbana, the one who stole her prey from under her nose. But Higanbana is a terrifying yokai. There's no way Sumire could get revenge on her. And so, she shifted her resentment and chose to take her revenge out on Yukari instead. You said you won't allow bullying, right? Well then, how do you intend to stop Masaki from bullying? Masaki Yoshikawa was hurt very deeply by bullying, so he became a great bully he won't lose to anyone. Furthermore, how do you intend to scold him when he won't even listen to you? He will always think he's the victim. There's no one more bad-natured in this world than a perpetrator who refuses to see himself as anything but a victim. It's true that Yoshikawa-kun was once a pitiable, bullied child. And it's true that in the beginning, I too thought he was entitled to a little payback. It was karma, retribution for evil deeds. Wrong. You throw words like karma and retribution around when it's nothing more than another bullying. You yokai used your honeyed words to make Yoshikawa-kun into the worst imaginable bully. You're right. You spoke so proudly before about stopping bullying, so I just wanted to see if you could stop Masaki. Masaki confusedly watched as Yukari appeared to be arguing with someone. He decided to push Yukari on the shoulder. Who are you talking to? Don't ignore me. Sakaki, when I was being bullied, you were the only one who ever stood up for me. You went out of your way, time and time again. Because I will never allow bullying. So, I wanted to thank you in my own way. That's why you were the only one in our class that I didn't bully. Yukari more or less knew that as well. Since he changed, Masaki would indiscriminately bully anyone and everyone in his class as he pleased. But Yukari was the only one who he never did anything to. Whenever Yukari would show up and try to interfere, he would just click his tongue and walk away, never involving her. You're annoying and meddlesome, but I'll make sure to overlook all that. So as thanks, don't ever involve yourself with me again. No. As long as you keep it up, I will never overlook your bullying. Fine, then starting tomorrow, I'll bully you as well. I won't give you special treatment. Or rather, I'll start bullying you enough to make up for all the times I've overlooked you. So bad that you'll be unable to interfere again. Go ahead and try. I've already faced bullying worse than yours, Yoshikawa-kun. You won't break me. Worse than mine? Sounds interesting. You've piqued my interest, Sakaki. Prepare yourself, because starting tomorrow, I'm going to bully you endlessly until you cry. If you want to surrender, do it now. Otherwise, don't think I'll go easy on you. I love bullying so much, I might just lose control of myself. Masaki threatened Yukari with a grin on his face. His face was close enough to hers to bite her nose. If that's what you want to do, go ahead. If you're wasting your time bullying me, then you won't be able to spend that much time bullying the other kids. You're an interesting one, Yukari Sakaki. Prepare yourself. Starting tomorrow, I'm only going to be playing with you. With a sickening laugh, Masaki left, after which the nervous bully kid ran off. Yukari was left alone, staring at Masaki as he walked away. Literally asking to be bullied. That Yukari kid is so interesting. I will never forgive anyone who bullies. Starting tomorrow, he's only going to have eyes for you. How will you fight him? Will you return to ignoring the bully? Or maybe you'll try telling the teacher. Neither of those will work. Masaki will completely bully you until you realize your own worthlessness. If you find yourself unable to withstand his bullying, then I will lead you to where the magical thistle grows. Oh, sister, what a splendid idea! The once proud Yukari who fought against bullying, succumbing to the joys of bullying herself? That really is an amusing idea. I will never become a bully. That won't do. That won't do at all. One day I will surely teach you the joys of bullying. I'll make you into the worst bully ever. You will bloom into the greatest bullying flower in the world and overflow with nectar for me. When you can't handle the bullying any longer, feel free to call me at any time. I will gladly grant you a magical thistle. Starting tomorrow, Yukari Sakaki will encounter relentless bullying. And within Masaki's heart burned a black flame that told him to tenaciously bully her until she gives in. But the next day, with both parties on the lookout for each other, the day turned out to be gut-wrenching for both Yukari and Masaki. Morning. The classroom before homeroom period was lively. Yukari was not there yet. Yukari is in charge of cleaning up after breakfast, so she's always a little late in getting to school. Masaki had a dark grin on his face as he pondered how to best bully her today. Naturally, he had no intention of sitting idly at his desk waiting for Yukari to arrive. As usual, he's picking on a group of his timid classmates, their heads hanging in shame. He had stolen one of the boy's pencil cases and was playing keep-away with it, while mocking the boy the whole time. Both of them ended up on the balcony outside the classroom, where Masaki told the boy that if he wanted it so bad, he could have it, and threw the case at the boy. And at that moment, a somewhat strong gust of wind blew. The thrown case was lifted up by the wind and passed over the balcony railing. Not wanting to lose it, the boy leaned out over the railing. Fortunately, he caught it, but in doing so, he also leaned out too far. What are you doing? So lame. Masaki laughed at the boy, shakily holding his case out over the balcony. But the next moment, the boy's body tipped a bit too far beyond the railing. The boy fell directly beneath the balcony. Running along the wall, there were a line of potted sunflower plants being grown by the underclassmen. The boy had smashed into those pots and lay on the ground there. You idiot! Why'd you go and do that? Masaki muttered that under his breath, but there was no way that the boy below could hear him. He had hit his head on the brick edge surrounding the flower bed. Dark red blood slowly spread out over the pavement, until the girl saw what had happened and let out a shrill shriek. Masaki had been frozen in thought. There was a big commotion during the morning homeroom. The teachers were hurriedly running about, and the ambulance could be seen driving off. Was there anyone who saw how he fell? The teachers questioned the whole class. Yes, there were people who saw him fall. Masaki had stolen his pencil case and thrown it at him. There were many students in the class who had seen him try to catch it and fall down below. But they were too afraid of Masaki, and so they avoided eye contact and kept silent. But among them, there was one person who nervously rose his hand, and that was Masaki himself. Oh, you saw what happened, Yoshikawa? Please tell me the details. He was messing around, and then he sat on the railing, then suddenly decided to stand on it, and fell. The boy fell when he was playing around alone. That was Masaki's testimony. It was the complete opposite of what had really happened. But it wasn't impossible to imagine the boy doing something like that. The story was that he, as the tyrant of the class, declared to be the truth. And his classmates were too frightened to say otherwise. The boy who had fallen was the same. The kid said that he fell because of bullying. He knew that he would face even harsher bullying from then on. So there was not a single student who would speak up against Masaki's lie. Masaki's heart continued to beat rapidly. But what if his lie was caught? Would the police get involved? Could he be charged for bodily harm? Was the boy even alright? When they loaded him into the ambulance, he wasn't even moving an inch. What if he dies at the hospital? Wouldn't that make me a murderer? So much sweat was pouring out of his body that he could hardly bear it. As he was right then, Masaki, the tyrant of the class, who could get away with anything, had lost every last ounce of dignity and dread he had. Lunch break. Masaki was surrounded by a large group of boys from his class. They were a bit apprehensive, but it felt like they were determined to oppose Masaki's tyranny. What? Do you guys want something? Masaki was slightly intimidated by their presence. Yoshikawa, why did you tell that lie? Huh? What lie? You told a lie earlier. What was that about sitting on the railing? Yeah, you took his pencil case and threw it over the balcony. Yeah, it was your fault that he fell. So why did you lie to the teacher? What did you guys say? Shut the hell up! Stop making things up. You're the one who's making things up. What was that? Do you want me to teach you a lesson? Huh? Do you? Up until today, Masaki would threaten like that they would cower in fear. But of course, today, they didn't cower and they didn't hesitate to continue calling him out. We're not going to be scared of you forever. That's right. Yoshikawa-kun, you're nothing but a brute. You're a problem for everyone in the class. Yoshikawa-kun is a liar. A murderer. What was that? Just called me a murderer. Was it you? One by one, fellow classmates had been coming to help pack up the group of boys. By the time Masaki had realized it, he was being surrounded and blamed by every person in the class. Masaki grabbed the collar of one of the kids standing closest to him and pushed him back, but that just added fuel to the fire. It very quickly turned into a fight. But he was outnumbered, because of the unrest caused in Masaki's mind by the following incident. Thistle magic power had been cut off. He no longer held the guise of a bully that he had for so long. The pent-up emotions of his classmates went up in flames and spread throughout the classroom like a wildfire. Before he knew it, it went beyond being a fight, became a group mauling of a cowering Masaki. Stop it, everyone! Stop the violence! Stop bullying! Yukari tried to stop the group, but no one would listen to her. This isn't bullying, it's revenge, payback! He was always making us suffer. It serves him right. Yeah, it's our turn to teach him a lesson. You broke my key holder. I really like that one. You scribbled all over my notebook, you bastard! What was that crap about me being your underling? You're always treating us like slaves. We're not afraid of you anymore. Die! 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 Stop, everyone! Please stop this! It's true that what Masaki had been doing up until today had obviously been bullying. But this attacking of him in the name of revenge was nothing more than bullying as well. But the class was not aware that they were bullying. To the students of this class, Masaki was a villain who threw their classmates off the balcony, and this was their rightful revenge. No, his rightful punishment. This situation is exactly the same as what happened when Masaki got revenge on his bullies. Because they were being bullied, they consider this to be fair payback. That's how they justify their glorified bullying. By beating on Masaki like this, they were able to forget their troubles. And in doing so, a strange sense of camaraderie and teamwork was born among them. This feeling, she knew it. Sumire has taught them the joy of bullying. You're here, aren't you, Sumire-chan? Indeed I am, Yukari. Everyone is becoming such good friends by beating up Masaki. What a splendid utopia. Trying to unite the class as one to bully Masaki-kun? You haven't given up that stupid idea yet? Look at their teamwork. Look at the lively emotions on their faces. They have become slaves to the bullying. They will enact their justice on Masaki by bullying him. They're slaves to the joy of it. And then I will appear before the class and cause it all to repeat once again. And then the class will all team up on another single student and drown in the delights of bullying. They are my cute little flowers of bullying. It's Sumire's turn to hunt now. Thanks to Yoshikawa-kun's bullying, I've helped myself to my fair share of souls. What do you think, Yukari? Are you surprised? This is the sisterly hunt of the Azumi Sumire sisters. My older sister hunts by picking out the weakest, most bullied kid and turning them into a bully, while I hunt by making the class band against that new bully. And then, once Masaki has fallen, she will tempt him once again with her magical thistles. And we keep repeating that forever. You must have realized this cycle of karma by now. When you're bullied, you gain the right to bully back. And when you're bullying, you are liable to be bullied. Everything that has happened to him, including this day, has been divine intervention. The bully and the bullied forever switch places, causing an endless chain of bullying. The hunt of us sisters goes on forever. Humans cannot break this chain of bullying. When the bell that signals the end of lunch period rings, Masaki would be saved. But that would not be the end of what had started here. The classmates would plan to take their newfound revenge out on him all day, every day. No matter what false courage he would try to show, he would be taken down by every bullied student in the class. While covered in bruises, head hanging in shame, and fighting back tears overflowing from his eyes, Masaki cursed under his breath. Once he had reverted back to being the bullied kid again, he would once again be given a magical thistle, at which point he would relapse into bullying. And this would continue on forever. It will be an ideal situation. Well, if everything goes smoothly, that is. If everything goes smoothly? As you no doubt remember, being bullied by an entire class is especially severe. Someone like Masaki, who caved in after being bullied by just a few people, may not be able to tolerate it. Originally, he was a weak, bullied child. Now that he's shed his transformation, he won't be able to keep up like that forever. It would be nice if he regained the willpower to get revenge once again. But as far as I see it, next time that won't be the case. Depressed and crawling on all fours. If Masaki falls that far, he'll probably end up taking his own life. Of course, if that happens, my sister and I will eat up the rest of his soul. When that time comes, your classmates will be totally immersed in the joys of bullying, and her wonderful little flowers will then do her hunting for her. So, Yukari, what will you do now? Will you watch Masaki suffer until he commits suicide? Will you be able to do that? No? Then how do you intend to save him? Give it up, Yukari. If you try to help Yoshikawa-kun, then you will be labeled a target for bullying as well. And if that happens, you will meet the same end as him. Come on, Yukari. Show me how you're going to stop this bullying. A chain of bullying rationalized as revenge. I want to see how you plan on breaking this chain. Yukari bit her lip and stared down at the ground. There wasn't much time left. Yukari knew how hard it was for the class to endure Masaki's bullying, but Masaki couldn't withstand this attack forever. It was only a matter of time before he would resort to suicide. She would never allow bullying, but even more so, she would never allow someone to do something as foolish as commit suicide. To do that, she had to find some way to protect Masaki, and a way to make her classmates come to their senses and stop their revenge. But if she wasn't even able to stop the fight that had just happened, how was she supposed to do all that? She wondered if a yokai who supports humans, like Marie-san, might show up and help them out again. But that wouldn't work. The cycle of bullying has always been a problem of humans, so it must be solved by humans. Even if a non-human being saved them, that would only be a temporary fix. As a human, I have to do something to solve this on my own. But what? And then, a small flash of inspiration crossed Yukari's mind. But, in order for it to work, it would require a considerable amount of determination. Oh? Have you thought up a way to stop their bullying? How intriguing! Do tell! I have no choice but to use that utopia born out of bullying one person. Oh? What do you mean by that? Sumire-chan, use your power to make the class bully me. That crazy proposal made the yokai sisters' eyes widen. Oh? Now you've gone and said something really interesting. What a pleasant surprise. What a wonderful self-sacrifice. Do you intend to protect Yoshikawa-kun by taking on the bullying yourself? At this rate, Yoshikawa-kun will be attacked by everyone, and it will turn into a huge fight and cause him serious injury. It's true that Yoshikawa-kun bullied everyone else really badly, and I do understand everyone's feelings in wanting to get back at him. But if I let them continue, the same situation will just repeat forever, just like you two want it to. And the chain of bullying will never end. So, that's why you will undertake the role of the bullied, Yukari. And then, what do you intend to do then? I will do my best to get along with everyone trying to bully me. They may be able to justify their payback on Yoshikawa-kun, but they won't be able to do the same to me. So, if I just talk to them, I should be able to stop the bullying. She may have a valid point. Trying to solve the bad blood between Masaki and his classmates would be very hard at this point. But if Yukari took the bullying upon herself, compared to Masaki, the class had very little problem with her at all. So there's still a chance that she can stop the bullying. She will save Masaki by becoming the new bullied kid, and somehow find a way to reconcile with the class and end the bullying there. Yukari so genuinely wants to put an end to the bullying that she's ready to sacrifice her own well-being. This girl really thinks of some outrageous things. What do you think, sister? It would be a beautiful show of self-sacrifice. I would like to see it. Then it's decided! From now on, I will use my power to make the class bully you. Everyone will completely forget about Masaki and become engrossed in bullying you. I'm looking forward to seeing how you'll fight the bullying of an entire class. Before, you were consequently saved by Higanbana, but can you expect the same stroke of good luck this time around? Even if it does happen, don't expect us to allow you to have your way for long. My sister's brutality is on par with Higanbana's. She's a diabolical, heinous, malicious, and hypocritical yokai. Who are you calling a hypocrite? Ow, sister! Ouch! Azumi stretched out Sumire's cheeks like two balls of mochi. But Yukari's determination did not falter. Is that fine with you, Yukari? If so, we will grant you your wish. I will definitely remove the bullying from this class. Show us how long you can keep up that strength. I will always be by your side, watching you. If you ever can't handle the bullying anymore and want to get some payback on your bullies, you can call on me at any time. When you do, I will grant you a magical thistle. Even you can learn the joy of bullying. And if you want to, I can certainly teach it to you. While still pinching Sumire's cheeks, the two of them disappeared, and Yukari felt an awful feeling spread throughout her body. She remembered this feeling. I have, once again, become the target of bullying. Everyone! Stop bullying Yoshikawa-kun! As she yelled at them, each and every one of them slowly turned their heads and gave her a dismal stare. And then, because she was defending a villain, they all started yelling at Yukari Sakaki like she was a villain herself. And they changed the target of their attack from Masaki to Yukari. As if possessed, all the classmates gathered around Yukari and engulfed her with ridicule, pushing and kicking at her. Masaki was stunned at how abruptly they moved on from him. In the blink of an eye, the entire crowd had disregarded Masaki and were now surrounding Yukari. Yukari tried to persuade them to stop bullying, but none of them would lend her an ear. What are you guys doing? No, stop it! Masaki nervously spoke in a small voice, but they were so absorbed in madly bullying the girl that they didn't hear him. The entire class continued to relentlessly bully Yukari. Days passed, and before long, 10 days had already passed. They were always attacking her and leaving countless painful-looking wounds. Her face was always covered in bandages. Masaki caught up with her as she wearily walked home and called out to her. Sakaki. Yoshikawa-kun. What is it? The face of the girl who once hated bullying and refused to ever falter in the face of bringing it down now looked entirely too pitiful. After having to endure such horrible bullying every day, Masaki could easily imagine how dark and constrained her world must have felt right now. I heard what you did from those yokai. Masaki asked Sumire what had happened. She told him about how Yukari wished to take the bullying upon herself in order to protect him. I will never allow bullying, Yukari replied with a smile on her face, pretending to be strong. But that made her all the more pitiful and made Masaki's chest tighten up. It was all my fault. I got carried away and did a lot of horrible things. That's right. It would have been fine if you had just settled for a little payback, but you kind of overdid it. So I should be the one who has to pay for overdoing it, not you, Sakaki. I already told you. I hate bullying, so I absolutely couldn't stand to see you bullied by everyone. So, what? You're just going to let yourself get bullied? I'm not just letting myself get bullied. I'm trying to ask everyone to please stop bullying. But they won't listen to you! They just ignore you and keep on bullying! It appears so. Yukari was in the process of admitting that to herself as well. She wouldn't allow bullying, and she wanted to oppose bullying, to fight it. She still firmly held those beliefs, but she was beginning to admit it to herself. There may be no real way to stop the bullying happening to her right now. You know, bullying is a lot like the Joker in Old Maid. At first you were the one who was being bullied. You were dealt the Joker of being bullied, and then you became the bully and you gave the Joker to those guys. It's easy to just tell people to stop bullying, but when does it stop? What are you supposed to do about the kid that gets handed the Joker next? Who's to decide who should be the one to silently endure a life of frustrating and sorrowful bullying? Someone must always be holding the Joker. Naturally, no one wants to have the Joker. Everyone has the right to live a happy life. But no one wants to take it upon themselves to hold the Joker once they receive it. So you don't want to be holding it either, right, Sakaki? That's right. But who would I pass it on to? If I pass my Joker of being bullied onto someone else, wouldn't that be the same as bullying them myself? So I don't want to pass it back on to you, because I will never allow bullying. Once the Joker of being bullied has been created, just like an old maid, humans can only pass it among themselves. Back when Yukari held that Joker before, her class got into an accident while on the bus and they all died, and she was able to get rid of it. So basically, does that mean that to get rid of the bullying old maid, someone must die? Don't think that way! Having someone die, isn't that the way to stop the chain? Isn't the way to stop the chain. I've been thinking about it for a while, and the conclusion that I've come to is that there is no other way. Self-sacrifice. A scapegoat for bullying. Damn it. Why does someone like Sakaki have to sacrifice herself for this game of old maid? If anyone has to be the sacrifice, it should be some worthless piece of trash kid. Like me, for example. Just not Sakaki of all people. The tragic yet heroic resolve of Yukari brought tears to Masaki's eyes. Recently, I've realized, once the joker of being bullied has been created, there's nothing we can do. Either it's like a relay race and everyone passes around the bullying baton between each other, or one person ends up getting all the jokers and everyone else lives happily in their utopia. Those are the only options. When the bullying starts, someone becomes happy, and then even if they're saved, someone else becomes a sacrifice. That's right. Once the joker is born, that game of old maid will indefinitely continue on until someone becomes a sacrifice. That chain of sorrow circles around every class, every year throughout the entire school, and even throughout this entire world. Once the joker is born, there is nothing we can do. Sakaki. It might be impossible to oppose bullying. I may have made a huge mistake. Those words were far too feeble. It seemed like the last foundations of Yukari's heart had started to crack. Then, what? If it's like a game of old maid, you just have to pass it on to someone else. You don't have to be the one to sacrifice yourself. Right now, you are undoubtedly being bullied. So right now, you should be able to find one. Find a magical thistle. Azumi-san, if you can hear me, show yourself, and give a magical thistle to Sakaki. Masaki called for her, and instantly 2 sets of laughter were heard, and the sisters Azumi and Sumire appeared. Yukari has become a splendid bully child. If she wishes it, I will give her one. Sakaki, eat a magical thistle. If you eat one, you'll instantly be made into a bully. You'll never be bullied by anyone again. How interesting! Awakening Yukari, who used to brag about hating bullying, to the pleasures of it. How interesting. It may save me from the bullying, but it will also mean that I will start bullying someone myself this time, right? Yes. If you eat my sister's thistles, you will be awakened as a bully. Your ambitions and violence will overflow from you. You will not be able to remain as the same person you have been thus far. Masaki knew that very well. Once he ate the thistle, the very next day he was reborn as a completely different person. Even though Yukari hates bullying more than anyone else, that will not save her from undergoing a complete change. But that's fine. She shouldn't be someone who's bullied in the first place, so she has to eat the magical thistle. Please, I'm begging you. Let Sakaki eat the magical thistle. And Sakaki, if you have to bully someone, bully me. It's my fault you're in this mess, all because I got carried away. Pass your joker onto me. Yoshikawa-kun. Such beautiful devotion. Then what I grant you is love. As expected of my sister. Love is such a hypocritical word. Now then, Yukari, what shall you do? Do you wish for a thistle of vengeance? Please, Sakaki, eat a thistle. You don't have to worry about what happens next. For the love of God, I'm begging you. Masaki begged Yukari with tears dripping from his eyes. The light in Yukari's eyes was so darkened by the days upon days of bullying that he had no idea what she thought of all this. You've already lost to the bullying. Your heart has been grinded to dust. Don't hesitate. Eat my sister's thistle and be born anew. Azumi plucked a blooming thistle from the edge of the road and imbued it with magical power, and presented it to Yukari. Here, eat this flower. With this you will be bullied no longer. In exchange, your heart will be filled with violent urges. You'll be born again as a hungry wolf, always searching for someone to bully. Yukari's trembling fingers slowly extended towards the thistle, but at the last second, her sense of reason held her back. Sakaki, please, please! Yukari's fingers touched the thistle, and she took hold of it. And placed it in her mouth. Yukari couldn't resist. It was only natural. Up until today, she had been relentlessly bullied by the entire class. She fought with all her might, but she was at her limit. Even if she did become a bully, would it even be her fault? She is innocent. After tomorrow, she will be the complete opposite. That will surely be a bitter sight. But at the same time, she has the right to do so. This girl who took the Joker upon herself has the right to pass it on to anyone she wants to. She swallowed the thistle with a gulp, and its magical power slowly spread throughout Yukari's body. And now, Yukari is a bully. Starting tomorrow, you will be a bloodthirsty wolf, hungry for bullying. Yoshikawa-kun, I would advise being careful of not getting too close to her. Though if you do wish to get close to her, be aware that you will be doing so as a scapegoat. The idea of Yukari, who hates bullying, in turn bullying the person she sacrificed herself to save. Is there any greater spectacle than that? The worse the bullying was at the time of eating the thistle determines how bad of a bully the person will become. That is how its magical power works. How bad of a bully will Yukari become then? Still, he will take it all upon himself. No matter how much she changes, Masaki vows to never be disappointed in her. And on the next day, Yukari was late to school as usual. Masaki got to the classroom early and waited nervously for her to show up. A bunch of their classmates were scribbling on Yukari's seat. What idiots. They're going to regret doing that today. Sakaki hated bullying more than anyone out there, but today she'll be reborn. It's okay, Sakaki. Go ahead and pass your Joker on to somebody new. If you happen to overdo your payback like I did, then I will take all your bullying upon myself. You will relinquish your Joker, and unlike me, you won't be hated if you overdo it. You will be freed from bullying. It's about time for Yukari-san to show up. I'm excited to see what kind of personality she will have. Oh, sister, it's Yukari, she's here! She just came in through the front doors of the school. How does she look? From an outsider's perspective, she wouldn't look that different, but she definitely has a heavy aura about her. It's pretty intense. Masaki could see the two Yokai sisters laughing amongst themselves. Since he was deceived by them and made to eat that strange thistle, Masaki deeply regretted getting involved with them. And then, Yukari Sakaki entered the classroom. She said nothing, but she had a sinister look that made everyone in the room freeze in place and stare. It was a sinister presence far more dreadful than when Masaki was a bully. Her expression was dark. It had the sort of intensity to it that made it clear that you shouldn't carelessly talk to her, or that if she approached you, you had better get out of the way. What a fierce demeanor! It feels like she would kill you if you even made eye contact with her. Sakaki. Yukari trudged on over to her seat. A series of horrendous scrawlings were written on her desk. Yukari stared down at it for a while. Everyone in the classroom was still frozen. Not a single one of them could even move a finger. And then, slowly, Yukari picked up her desk. Sakaki. With a sound like lightning striking, she slammed her desk into the floor. But still, no one moved a muscle. No, actually, someone was laughing. It was the two Yokai sisters. Excellent job, Yukari! To think that a girl who hated bullying that much would become this great of a bully herself. Magnificent, Yukari. Go on, release all of the hatred and sorrow that you've gathered up until today. Free yourself by bullying them. Slowly, Yukari walked over to the front of the class, in front of the blackboard. She turned around and looked over her classmates, still with shock. What frightening eyes. Reflected in those eyes are the pitiful sacrifices to her bullying. Go on, Yukari. Who will you bully first? Anyone is fine. Have your pick. If none of them strike your fancy, there's always the possibility of getting back at the ones who bullied you. Right, Yoshikawa-kun? You can't fight bullying. That's right. Trying to oppose bullying is beyond foolish. Bullying must not be born. We must not allow it to be born. If it is born, it becomes an old maid, removable only by death. Then, back in the very beginning before bullying existed, we humans must have lived in a utopia. Hey, why did the first humans start bullying in the first place? If bullying was never born, humans would have lived in happiness forever. Come on, Yukari. Submit to my utopia. Force your bullying on them. Offer up a sacrifice as the others dance around you. So, this is utopia. This is the utopia that I've wanted. Sakaki, if you're going to bully, use me! As Masaki tried to run over to her, another thunderous sound shook the room. The teacher's desk fell over with a clang. Yukari had kicked it over and glared at Sumire and Azumi. I won't let you two have your way. This is the utopia I've wanted. The way to oppose bullying that I've been looking for. The intensity of those words could overwhelm even those yokai. It may be too hard to sever the chain of bullying once it has been made. In that case, there's nothing else to do but make it like that bullying was never born in the first place. How do you plan to do that? I will make it so that bullying is never born in this classroom again. Never again, so long as I am alive. Once more, Yukari violently kicked the teacher's desk, and she stepped onto it, declaring her reign as the new tyrant of the classroom. I hate bullying, Yukari's voice resounded throughout the otherwise silent classroom. I hate bullying, and I hate anyone who bullies. Understood? She slowly surveyed the classroom. Whenever she would meet eyes with someone, they would hesitantly nod in agreement. She slammed her foot into the desk again. If any one of you bullies again, I will kill them. If you don't want to be killed, live a modest life. I am the bully who devours other bullies, and I'm hungry. I really, really want to bully someone. So if you want to become my prey, show yourself now. The sound of her insane laughter was drowned out by the sound of her kicking the blackboard. Is there anyone here who wants to bully me? Of course there wouldn't be. Everyone who met Yukari's eyes hurriedly shook their head. In that case, You'd better live an honest and humble life. Answer me! Yes, ma'am! She was so terrifying that her classmates had no choice but to reply. Yoshikawa? Yeah? You're the class representative, are you not? Be on the lookout for any bullying. Of course. If you find any bullying, come tell me right away. I will find that moron and kill and devour them. Yeah. Did you hear that, everyone? Bullying won't be allowed in this class ever again. Never again as long as Sakaki and I still draw breath. Got that? Answer him! Yes, sir! The students whispered among themselves about the sudden change in Yukari. But whenever they met eyes with her, they had no choice but to avert their eyes and force a smile. This was the momentary utopia that Yukari had thought up. What is this? What is the meaning of this? Looks like she got the best of you, didn't she, Sumire-chan? Yukari's strength really is something. Oh my. If it isn't Higanbana-san and Marie-san, welcome to our hunt. I've actually been watching the whole time, waiting for a chance to steal your prey from you. But I never imagined that this would be the outcome. Yukari-chan found a way, didn't she? The one way to get rid of bullying. It's too difficult to remove bullying after it's been born. So, the only other option in that case is to create a world where bullying can't exist. Yukari realized that she could use her reign as tyrant to tear that joker to pieces, and that by displaying her leadership, she could prevent bullying from ever being born in this class again. Of course, that is no simple task to accomplish. Yukari must constantly hold her authority of the class, and keeping that up every single day would be near impossible. And at the same time, if her presence ever stops striking fear into the others, she will not be able to keep the bullying in check for long. Yukari will only be able to rely on the power borrowed from the magical Thistle for a limited amount of time. The Thistle's magical power will eventually wear off. Yukari won't be able to keep her utopia intact forever. But, even if it's only temporary, this girl who hates bullying more than anyone was able to create a true utopia. Splendid job, Yukari. You turned out exactly the way I expected you to. So you say, but you're just as much of a sore loser and hypocrite as always. Who are you calling a hypocrite? What, do you want to fight? I'm eating daifuku today, so I'm in a rather high spirits. Shall we have a little battle right here, right now? Shut up, you yokai! If you're gonna fight, go do it outside! Yukari banged her foot on the blackboard, and the yokai disappeared. Eek! That Yukari is too scary. She's totally not Yukari at all. Wah! I'll be watching over your hatred for bullying. So, hang in there, Yukari-chan. When the teacher arrived for morning homeroom, usually he would expect everyone to be out of their seats messing around. But today, they were sitting, discreetly whispering under their breath. Oh, what's this? Everyone is so well behaved this morning. Okay, whoever's the helper today, lead us through morning greetings. Hey! Helper! Stand! Masaki was thinking it wouldn't be so bad for Sakaki to be like this for a while. And he set aside his internal debate on whether a tyrant is a necessary evil. Even if it's just for a short while, Yukari Sakaki will be able to bring a temporary peace to this class. Masaki had to tip his hat towards that girl's pure hatred of bullying. Apparently after that, Masaki apologized to the boy who fell off the balcony. Masaki was beyond happy that the boy forgave him. Yoshikawa, you're the class rep. Don't ever mess around like that again. Yeah, sorry, Sakaki. Ouch! Don't kick me! When the next term comes around, and they're voting for the next class representative, Masaki swore to himself that he would cast his vote for Sakaki.